I think part of the relaxation and the serenity that we experience in the house also goes back to the biophilic design aspects, that you have that constant connection to nature, and I think that helps us as humans feeling more relaxed and rejuvenated. It's a weird sort of triangular shape wedged between a train line on one side and the bluestone laneway on the other side, and then 10-storey apartments at the back. But it gives it quite an interesting urban feel, I thought. It's a perfect site to do something really, really sustainable. The idea was to create a highly sustainable home, but also a very playful and fun and adventurous house. Something that we could use as a showcase to show people what is a passive house, how does a passive house work.
The ground level is all about community, where we come together as a family. We overlaid a lot of the functions, like the living space, into the hallway, and the hallway becomes part of the living. And with that, because we have that particularly tiny footprint, it's only 78 square meters, and we didn't want it to feel small. When you come home, you want to relax, you want to rejuvenate, and I think that's exactly what you can do. So the garden is really an extension of what the home does with the pond and the aquaponic system, and you have that little waterfall, but it's so relaxing. I just so love sitting there and just hearing it.
The first floor with the 3 kids' rooms and their respective mezzanine levels, and then the master bedroom is on that level as well, and that has an aspect to the outside, to a green roof on top of the garage.
The kids' rooms, which have really a focus on being playful and fun. And each of them have the same concept of having a play area on their level where they enter. But then you have another level, which is a mezzanine level, where they sleep, and you have a net that makes it really safe. It offers another space to literally hang out in, and it's just a beautiful attribution to the space, and it makes the height as well in that space.
We've got 1 bathroom on each level.
We made the bathrooms really nice. They're small, all of them are small. They're very individual, very sculptured. I love the middle one with the living green wall, and it feels like being in nature when you shower or be in the bathtub. We made the top level, which has a rumpus room or a piano room or a study, just a space where you have a bit of peace and quiet from the rest of the family, and that's associated to its own bathroom.
We wanted it to be guided by sustainability, so all materials are really selected on that basis, helping with a low carbon footprint. The material palette on the outside is very much inspired by its surroundings. We've got the 3 main materials: recycled bricks, metal and timber. And so we just tried to use those materials and put them in a contemporary context. And then on the inside we've got the black dark floorboards that are cradle to cradle certified. And so they come and wrap up on the walls and sort of sculpt the kitchen joinery and other joinery pieces and doors.
CLT fascinated us as a material because it looks beautiful. But not just the look, just it has that solidity. Once it's all produced, they come to site and we installed it with a crane within 10 days. And your shell is there, you put the windows in, and within 2 or 3 weeks, you are at lockup. But the nice thing about CLT is that it's very structurally stable. It has a lot of mass, and that contributes to fantastic sound qualities. So next to the train line, that's a beautiful thing to have. And when we had our fire, I think it was one of the factors that the house did survive, despite the fact that it burned for 24 hours, but the CLT was hardly touched.
So there's 5 principles to a passive house. The first one is really good insulation on the outside of the walls. Really, really good windows. Our windows are triple glazed here. Airtightness, so that building envelope wants to be airtight. There's no unwanted air that comes from the outside to the inside or the other way around. There's no drafts in the house. Thermal bridge-free construction, so you can't have any elements bridging that insulation layer. And then once you've got those 4 points, create that perfect building envelope, that really good shell. And then number 5 is the heat recovery ventilation system. So that brings in fresh air from the outside, takes out the stale air from the inside. They cross paths in a heat exchange unit. And by doing that, we can keep about 90% of the energy in the house that's already there. One of the comments we get from visitors a lot of the times in winter, they come in and they say, oh, the house feels so nice and comfy. What's your heating source? What sort of heating do you use? And the answer to that is none. There's no heating. It's just the natural heat that we as humans give off, and the heat that is in the building anyway, and that stays in the building because it's so well insulated and it works so well. I think part of the relaxation and the serenity that we experience in the house also goes back to the biophilic design aspects. So that connection between inside and outside, connection to nature, seeing plants, also working with natural materials on the inside, having plants on the inside. There's planter boxes and green walls. It's not just the passive house and the constant temperature and the comfort, but it's also that other level of nature coming into it.
We have a responsibility not just for our life, but also for future generations. If we keep living as we do currently, the planet won't be there anymore and there's no planet B. I think with a house, which is a big investment, you want to make sure you take that serious, because a house has a major impact if you do it wrong, because there's a lot of resources going into it. But if you do it right, and that's what we try to show with our house, then you can actually heal the planet instead.